The void. The void. What is it? Why is it? And how do we fill it? So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. The dreaded void. I mean, it's a big subject. I get it. So settle in for, maybe some confronting ideas and maybe some enlightening or inspiring ideas. I hope perhaps both. So welcome, welcome. I have my glass of water here. Now, I wanted to make a point of that because how come we're always, this is completely off topic, but everywhere I see adults drinking from bottles, and I just think, what is with that? Even when they're in their own homes, they're drinking from bottles. There's something infantilizing about it. Like, can we drink from glasses already? We're grown-ups. Anyway, so the void. This is, tell me if you can relate to this, because I know at some periods of my life, that definitely the void has played a part. And what I'm talking about is that feeling of lack, that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of just being not quite right, like something's missing. Hence the void being the word that we're using here. Now, I think that we probably spend a great deal of our lives feeling like this and not quite sure what it is that's going to fill it up. So that's the topic for today. And yes, it is a big topic. Hello, welcome, welcome. So my name is Kylie Ansett, and I am the Alignment Whisperer. That is the person who guides seekers of alignment. I am a life coach and a guide to people who are looking to get into alignment and to connect with their inner brilliance. Now, I talk about your inner brilliance because I see it. I know it's there, even if you don't. And that's probably one of my biggest gifts to my clients, is to be able to see your inner brilliance, to know it, recognize it, acknowledge it, and speak to it. And when you speak to someone else's inner brilliance, it's a given. It exists. It's who they are. It's how they are. It's how I relate to them. What happens is people rise to that vibration. It's a beautiful thing to see. And so often I think we tend to do the opposite. We talk to the lowest aspect of someone, especially when we're having trouble with them, right? So, they also rise, or shall we say lower themselves to that vibration. So I know that each of us has a spark or a raging forest fire of brilliance within us, and that's the part that I'm interested in, because I know that it exists. So anyway, that's who I am, that's what I do, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and this is your daily dose of alignment. So let's talk about this thing, the void, the void. Now, you might have read in the description for this, because it was quite a long description, and the thing is that the void exists when you're out of alignment. So again, the answer, the simple answer is get into alignment, and you won't need to fill the void with stuff. But we don't believe that, we don't recognize it, and so we buy into this idea that we need to fill the void of emptiness, of lack, of being just like out of sync with what should be, with stuff. We think that stuff will be the answer, and we are taught that from a very young age, like you get an ice cream if you're a good girl. You get a toy if you're a good boy. You get toys at Christmas. And like, of course, we love stuff. There's nothing wrong with getting stuff, enjoying stuff, and so on. But the thing is that if you think the stuff is what's going to get you the good feeling, that's where the problem is. So that's where you end up just with this endless seeking to fill this bottomless void, because when you're out of alignment, there's no way that you can get into alignment through stuff. So, and stuff can mean anything. So stuff like, gosh, here's one that that so many people buy into, like your career. So there's this kind of, you're indoctrinated as you go through school that when you achieve a certain level, you get attain a certain mark. That's the approval stuff. You get the approval of your parents, you get the approval of teachers, you get the approval of society as a whole, and then that's how you get to fill that void. And of course what happens is you go through life kind of reaching these benchmarks, achieving these things, or maybe not. In fact, sometimes it's worse when you don't, because then you buy into the belief that, well, if I only just achieved that thing, got that thing, hit that benchmark, then this void that I'm experiencing would be gone. So it's almost better when you do achieve those things and you go, hang on a minute, the void's still here, what's going on? I thought this was supposed to be the thing that got rid of the void. So we try filling it with material stuff. I've been watching this show on Netflix called Consumed. I absolutely love wasting my time. Well, it's not wasting my time. This is my unwind time. Some of these reality TV shows, I find snippets of human psychology that are fascinating. And from that perspective, I watch from my ivory tower how people's lives unravel. But it is really interesting to see with this show called Consumed is all about people who have really filled their lives with stuff. And of course, the stuff has become now the cause of their unhappiness. But what I find kind of misses the point with that is that the premise is that when they get rid of the stuff, now at first they thought the stuff was going to fill the void. Then they worked out it didn't, and it didn't matter how much stuff they put in there, and they put a lot of stuff in there. The void was as big as ever. In fact, the void got bigger, that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of disconnection. So then the premise of this show is get rid of the stuff and you'll feel better. And I think that's kind of missing the point. I mean, there is a little bit of psychology that goes on behind there, no doubt, but it's also missing the point, because not having stuff is not the answer to filling the void either. I mean, it certainly stops you being distracted by by thinking that more stuff is the answer, but less stuff is not the answer either. And the other thing that we fill it with is distraction, entertainment. Social media has become a phenomenon that most of us now could not imagine existing without. But it wasn't even here 10 years ago or 15 years ago, right? I mean, 10 years ago it was like in its infancy, and a lot of people were not part of it, and now it's almost a requisite part of everyone's life. And that's really interesting, but it's just another stuff that we've filled our lives with. In fact, I think social media has been a very clever replacement for television. Like, I haven't had a television. I mean, yes, I watch Netflix, but I do it sort of through, I'm not plugged in, let's say, with an aerial. I feel that there's more intentionality there. But a lot of people aren't watching television like we call it the dinosaur media here in the alt media world. The dinosaur media is a thing of the past. There's things like this, what I'm doing. I mean, that didn't exist, 15, 20 years ago. It didn't exist 5 years ago in very much of a structured format. So, but a lot of this is just distraction, including possibly me. Like, if you just see these things as a distraction and they don't and you're not using them with some intentionality. I mean, that seems to be my favorite word this week. But then it becomes the distractions fill the void, or you attempt to fill the void with the distractions. You attempt to fill the void with alcohol, sex, drugs. I mean, all the addictive kind of behaviors, right, are all void-filling behaviors. I mean, if the void was filled, chances are you wouldn't be really that interested in those things, certainly not in an obsessive, addictive way. The thing that really fills the void, and this is the reason I called my group Addicted to Alignment, is because alignment is the only thing that fills the void. Now, alignment means different things to different people, so I'm not about to say that I have the definitive answer to all of that, but I do know that when you're in alignment, which is when you're tuned in, when you are connected to your inner wisdom, when you're connected to something that's bigger than yourself, when you're living on purpose, when you're stepping into your life with a sense of being in the right place and the right time, with a positive expectation no matter what's going on around you. Now, when you feel like that, then there is no void. As soon as you step away from that, the void's there again. So that's the thing. The only thing to fill the void is being in alignment. If you fill the void with alignment, there is no void. It will be instantly filled. There'll be instantly that feeling of satisfaction. One of the analogies, or I guess ways that I like to compare it, is looking at how a satisfied baby is. I was just going to say baby, but I guess not all babies are like this. But you know, when a baby is in alignment and they're just, you give them a duster and they will play with that and have complete enjoyment and fascination with that duster, or with their own feet, or just with a little bit of dust floating around in the air. Like they don't they almost don't need stuff. I mean, I was about to say they don't need stuff, but I guess they do, because the duster is the beginning of the stuff. But you can do that as an adult with more intentionality. So for example, when you look around, if you give everything you see the same attention and joyful appreciation, then that brings you into alignment, as opposed to looking at it as, oh, it's broken, it needs fixing, you know, it's there's something wrong with it, with me, with my life. That's what brings you out of alignment. So it's that sense of satisfaction with no matter where you are, no matter where that is, that's what brings you into alignment and instantly fills the void. So try it out. Try the void filling exercise of being in alignment and see if that removes that desire for filling your life with stuff, whether it's material stuff, emotional stuff, addictive stuff, even spiritual stuff can become just another avoidance. And isn't it interesting that that word avoidance has the word void in it? That's something to think about. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me here in the Alignment Sandpit. I hope you got something out of that, and I will be back here tomorrow around the same time. And remember, the power is within you. Bye-bye.